This year, New Hanover County Schools is in the process of redistricting our schools. With the 2014 bond projects mostly completed, including Porter's Neck, Blair, and College Park Elementary Schools, and many others, the district now has to make those tough decisions on this important issue. The redistricting committee has been hard at work over the past several months, and they've been meeting on a regular basis, all the while receiving input from the public. Their top priority and our top priority is always the students. The committee is considering the impact of the decisions on all of our families throughout the county. The process involves many planning sessions, studying maps, and utilizing technology to create the potential plans. Our goal is to reduce the overcrowding that we are currently facing at some of our schools. Coming up, we will speak with the people from New Hanover County Schools and from the community who are leading the way as we go through the redistricting process.
A Dog's Way Home is the story of the extraordinary lengths a dog will go to in order to get back to their family. Every year, millions of dogs and cats end up in shelters and rescue groups. We found our Bella at a shelter in Tennessee. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover they're all pure love. Adopt pure love and help a shelter pet find their way home at theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome to Diversity Matters. I'm Valita Quattlebaum, Chief Communications Officer for New Hanover County Schools. Today's show is all about redistricting and how we hope to answer many questions that you might have. To help us with that process, we've invited my guest for today, Mr. Eddie Anderson, my colleague, and he is the Assistant Superintendent of Operations for the district. Thanks for being with us today, Eddie.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Good. This is kind of a weird situation because our offices are right next door.
We sit right beside.
Right.
This
it's like, okay, so
natural.
Right. So we'll just talk and let our guests join us. So Eddie, for our audience, why is the district doing the redistricting process? Why is this necessary?
Well, we've obviously we've had a tremendous amount of growth in our county over the past several years. We don't redistrict very often, and unfortunately, the growth doesn't occur evenly across the county. Mm-hmm. We see some schools at this point that are over capacity, some schools that are under capacity, and the ones that are over capacity, it causes a significant impact on the school and learning.
Right. And all of us in the community, we get so excited when we see the schools going up. You and your team do such a great job working with architects. And the schools are really beautiful. And so I know that's why people have a lot of passion about the issue. So can you talk about some of the goals of the redistricting committee? What are they trying to accomplish? And why were those people selected to be on the committee?
Well, we have a very diverse committee. We have school system staff, administrators, principals. We have community members and board members. We also have a firm, Cropper GIS Consulting, that is helping facilitate the process. We really want to bring a wide variety of views and people to the process so that we can recommend an option or options to the board that best meets the guiding principles or the criteria that they established.
Good. And this is something that the district has done many times over. I know you worked with Bill Hance when he was in the role before you. So I think it's good for people to know that we have experienced people at the helm. And an interesting point, Emma Jackson, who everybody knows, Miss Jackson, one of our former principals, is on the committee. Were you instrumental in that?
Well, she is on the committee, and she brings a lot of experience, and having just the community relationships that she has, as well as the experience that she has working for the school system. So we're very happy to have her back with the school system
Yes,
for
we
just
are.
a little while.
Yes, we are. And with that, the public is always very curious about the process. What does it entail? How long have you been doing this? How far along are we? Can you talk a little bit about the process?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference, again, the board wanted to hire an outside consultant, and the intent was to bring, a fresh set of eyes to the process. We've all been through the process before. It would be good to see what others' experiences across the nation, would bring to New Hanover County in our process. But the other thing that I think is really important for the public to understand is that we really want this process to be as transparent as possible and to have public input throughout the entire process. And what that means is when the committee gets information, the public gets information.
Right.
And so a lot of times the public is commenting on things that we're just looking at for the first time too. And I think there was once the first maps went online, we had a lot of comments, people thinking that this was what was being recommended to
That's
the
an
board.
important point to bring out.
Yeah,
Right.
it's this is a long process. We're
So there's
we're in
nothing
the middle
set
of it
in
now.
stone at this time,
Yeah,
right?
It's a 5-month process. Our goal is to have a recommendation to the Board of Education in December. So,
Right.
we're in the middle of the process, and we've got a public input session coming up at Snipes next week.
Right.
So,
That would be September 17th.
September 17th, Snipes Academy.
What
of
will
Arts and
people see
Design.
when they come to Snipes on September 17th?
Yeah, we're gonna have a short presentation in the auditorium to talk about the process and where we are in the process, and then talk specifically about the 2 elementary school options that we are presenting, the 2 middle school options that we're presenting, and then we're going to move to the gymnasium. We'll have the maps displayed on the wall, and the committee members will be around to interact with the public, help them in viewing the maps.
So if I'm a parent, I can just go up to a committee member, say you or anybody, and just ask whatever I want?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's we want it to be informative, but we also want it to be informal. We want people to feel comfortable in looking at the maps and answering questions and getting the information that they need. That's the most important thing.
And you spoke about input. Do you think people are really participating? Are we getting the amount of input? It sounds like it. I mean, I'm hearing it in my office, but what's from your perspective?
We are. We're getting a lot of input. There's an online feedback form, and we take that very seriously. The consultant is reviewing that. They read each and every comment.
Wow,
They are
each
able
comment
to-
gets read.
Yes.
Yeah, I want
And
the
they-
public to hear that.
They sort that in a way that the committee members can really see, where the concerns are. And Valita, that's really what has led to the point we're at with the maps that we're showing.
Well, that's exciting.
It is.
And I hope people get that and participate in all these opportunities for input that we have created along the way for them. So I know a friend of mine is the public information officer in Union County Schools, and Mr. Cropper was there. So are you enjoying working with him, and is it helping it be a smoother process for you? Because I know in the past we didn't have a consultant. So how has that impacted it for you?
It is exciting. I love to see, the ideas that the consultant brings from. Like I said, they do this all over the nation, and that experience is that he brings is things that we can learn.
Right.
And they also have some capabilities that we didn't have, which I think has really helped make this process more transparent and enabled the public to provide input and be a part of the process from the very beginning.
Yes, and I've seen Mr. Cropper. He's very approachable.
He is.
And that's a great thing, so people don't feel intimidated to ask him a question. Okay, so you mentioned December, so about now we're in September. So what can we expect from now to the end? After we have the input session on the 17th, what's coming next?
Yeah, we'll take all of the information and input from the public on the two maps that we have. We'll take those back to the committee, and we'll be fine-tuning the two options, and and then working towards ultimately a goal of presenting one or two options to the board for their final selection.
Okay, good. So ultimately the board will make that decision, right?
Ultimately, the board will decide, but like I said, we do have board members participating on the committee, and I think the board is committed to the process and appreciates the work that the committee's put into this, and therefore will put a lot of weight in the recommendation of the committee.
That's good. I know everybody is happy to hear that, and we appreciate you leading that effort, Eddie. Not an easy job. So we will take a short break, and we will talk more about this very interesting topic about why redistricting is necessary for our schools, and how the district is trying to alleviate the overcrowding situation. So we'll be right back after the short break. Thank you.
I'm a bus driver.
I'm a bus driver.
I'm a bus driver.
Wouldn't you like to be a bus driver too?
New Hanover County Schools is now hiring individuals to be a part of our elite core of school bus drivers.
That's right. You can work full-time, part-time, or serve as a substitute bus driver.
New Hanover County Schools offers competitive wages, flexible hours, and state benefits.
Best of all, you get to work with the greatest kids in the world.
We need you!
Contact us today to join the next free commercial driver's license class.
New Hanover County Schools is an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back to Diversity Matters. Now I have more friends with me. We will speak with Mr. Ron Valines, who is the former principal of Williston Middle School and the current principal of Isaac Bear Early College High School. We have Mr. BJ Eversole, who is one of our illustrious community members, and we'll learn more about him in a second. And again, Mr. Eddie Anderson is back with us. And Mr. Anderson is the Assistant Superintendent of Operations for the district. So everybody, thanks for being here. I know everybody's really busy, so we will just jump right in. Mr. Eversole, you're a new face, and we're so happy to have you.
Well, thank
Can
you.
Tell us about who you are and,
Well,
your work in the community.
First and foremost, I am a native of this area. I was born in Wilmington. I grew up in Brunswick County, product of South Brunswick High School, and I'm a transportation planner at a local engineering firm called SEPI.
Okay.
And my background is in GIS, which is a big reason why I was drawn to be in this committee. And I'm not currently a parent, but I intend to be one in the future. Mm-hmm. And this is my home. New Hanover County is my home, and I'm concerned about its future and about the redistricting process, especially diversity in the redistricting process.
Wow, that's so important, and your background is perfect for the committee. So I'm glad for the public to hear the caliber of people that we have on our committee. So, Eddie, you're the man here with this process. What are people saying? What are some of the major concerns that you're hearing about redistricting?
Well, the public input that we've received, I think, centers around the boundary lines and making sure that we don't split neighborhoods, trying to limit movement. Proximity to the school is important.
Right.
Diversity is important. Anything else that y'all can think of that?
You know, some of it is really tough. I was the public information officer at one point for Carolina Beach. And I know that's a unique situation, but it's just such a tight-knit community. They love that school there.
They do.
And it is their school, and we let them have that school. And so you understand that that's an example that helps you understand how difficult it is when you try to shift things around.
Right.
Mr. Valance, help enlighten us about that. How can we do this to get more diversity in our schools and to bring balance?
In this situation, like we have mentioned on the committee, it is a tough decision. And we go and look at the maps, we look at the number of students who are going to be moved to those different areas to accomplish that diversity, because it's important to have that in schools, because our schools should represent the society we live in. We are a very diverse country, and our schools should mirror that
Right.
as well.
Like us sitting up here, look at us. We're a diverse group. Yeah, absolutely. So, Eddie, what's the biggest challenge that you're facing, you think, that we're facing?
Well, I think diversity is a challenge. You often hear that schools are an image of the community, and if your community is diverse, the schools will be diverse. Our housing patterns throughout New Hanover County aren't as diverse as we would like to see. And so that is a challenge, to create the diversity in schools while also taking in the desire of proximity and going to the school that you live closest to. So it's a balancing act, so to speak. There's no one criteria that we weigh more favorably over another. The board has established several criteria, and we try to balance them the best way possible.
Right. So, Mr. Eversole, you're one of the people whose shoulders this weight falls on. So, how has this experience been for you so far, and what impact is it having on you?
This is one of the first times I've ever been in a role like this, and it's definitely been it's definitely been a challenge for me, but I feel like I'm a planner, so I do the same work that our consultant does every day, just about.
Okay.
So I feel like I bring that to it, and I'm on the other side of public meetings, so that's kind of the experience that I bring to it, and that's and it's.
Is it tough?
It is tough.
Yes, it is tough.
It's
very tough, but in the end, sometimes when we're making our decisions, we have to keep all students in mind. And I think, it's difficult. And
how do we do that, Ron? I mean, you were the heart of Williston, and Williston is one of the hearts of this community.
Right. And it's what's going to be the best for all students. And that's what we want to do, because, we want to develop those students. We want to make sure they're getting that rigorous learning environment in every school, every elementary school, every middle school, every high school, because it's our job to grow those students each and every year. And so it's easy to focus on just a certain, and I go back into some of my data, certain subgroups.
Right.
But our goal is to benefit all students in New Hanover County, and that what makes the job hard, because we know we have our different sections of our community that we want to uphold, but our job is to uphold all students.
And I think we saw that. We had a realtors tour a couple of weeks ago. Eddie helped out with that so much, and we saw how the community sometimes is just shocked and surprised because they have these perceptions about our schools. But then when people come into the schools and they really see what's going on, they're like, hey, I love this school, it's great. I would let my child come here. They just don't know. So what can we do to, if you've never set foot in a school, what can we do to dispel some of the myths or the misunderstandings.
And I think your department in New Hanover County is doing a great job in doing that. We're actually focusing in on our schools, and we're promoting our schools. We're trying to show what's inside of our
Right,
schools.
inviting people come in.
With our
Right.
students, with our staff, with our leadership. And so we're doing that marketing our schools and to let them know that all of us are in it for all students.
Right, right. So Eddie, how will, like the committee, we can only have but so many people on the committee. So how will people be able to feel like everybody's voice is being heard in that? Because I know that you've told me many times everybody's voice is important. So how will you ensure that? What are we doing to ensure that?
Well, I think when we were putting the committee together, we tried to get committee members that had from different backgrounds and would bring different perspectives to the process. And the other thing is to have the process as transparent as possible and really encourage, not just invite, but really encourage the public to follow along and be a part of the process. In the end, I think that it's the public input that we get that will determine the success of this.
Now, I hope people hear that. BJ, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, if somebody's just watching us at home and they're kind of maybe intimidated or they don't know, they think they might not know, what should they do in terms of the meetings?
They should just, I mean, we're having a meeting next week, and I mean, speaking for myself, I'm going to be there with a pad and a pen, and I'm going to be taking notes for anybody who would like to speak to me on it. And I'm going to be I'll be your advocate, and I'll be your, I'm your representative if you're a member of the community.
And our meetings are open, and so you can come and listen to see some of the things that we are fighting with as we try to improve this process. And so we are transparent. We don't want to sit behind closed doors. We want to let everyone know what is going into this plan and how much time to develop this plan that's going to benefit us all.
Right.
And I know that a lot of people might think when they go to a public meeting like this that their voice is going to be ignored, that it's going to be tossed aside and people are just going to do whatever they want. Well, I mean, I know from experience that that's not true, because in my field we have public meetings for roadway projects, and your voice is always going to be heard, and it's always the input is going to be important, and it's definitely been important here so far, and it's going to continue to be so.
What about our Spanish-speaking parents, Eddie? If they may have a language barrier or whatever, do we have any services to help support them?
We do. We do have a Spanish interpreter that's going to be at the public input session.
Right.
So any of our Spanish-speaking parents that they want to come and review the maps and ask questions and hopefully get answers to all of those questions, we'll have an interpreter there.
And if they miss that particular meeting, they can always go on the website. Is the website still, still going to be up?
It is. The website will be up. It's nhcsredistricting.com.
Right.
And there's a link to it on the front page of the school website, New Hanover County Schools website as well. That website contains all the information that is given to the committee. So
everything you all are getting, anybody in the public can access anytime they want to.
Absolutely.
Powerful. Great. And Ron, speaking from a principal's perspective, what are principals saying about this, and students? Do you know how it's important? It's people. These kids love their friends, the teachers. We're creatures of comfort. We get used to each other.
Right.
So what can you comfort us a little bit?
And I
Mr.
think
Blount?
from an administrative point of view, I go back to something I mentioned earlier, is just to make the learning environment equitable to all students and making sure we are there to provide that guidance to develop productive citizens once they graduate from New Hanover County Schools. And we want everyone to have the same fair chance for that type of academic education here in New Hanover County Schools.
Right. Wow. I just can't say enough, sincerely, how much I appreciate the committee. I love working for the district because I get to meet people like you and work with gentlemen like the two of you. And very busy, taking time to come and talk to the parents and the students. We're not Oprah, but it's what we have here in New Hanover County, so we appreciate you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
I'd like to thank my guests for being with us today. New Hanover County Schools is working to improve all aspects of the district, and that's why we work to highlight diversity on this show. You're welcome to call the New Hanover County Schools Public Relations Department at 910-254-4245 if you have any questions or if you have a story idea for a future edition of Diversity Matters. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next month with an all-new edition of this show.